I'm getting ready, guys. Spur of the moment. A little bit. All right, I can see now. It was kind of a last minute decision to do this so the people don't know we're on yet. Brother Butch, it's good to see you. Hallelujah. Yeah, this was Butch. This was spur of the moment. I got home a little bit earlier and got relaxed a little bit and got something to eat, and I ain't ready for bed by any means. So I decided that we'd go ahead and we'd share some of these articles. Oh, there's Sharon Ida Bustamante. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see everyone. Thank you so much for hopping over here with us. I gotta get to the back. These are the reports that we have. It's a lot of them. We went through a lot of them already, but I've got the newer ones at the back. I want to get through it. We've got some strange things. We're going to just kind of hop all over the place. We live in a world of weirdness, and we're in it. We're not part of it. Brother Mark, Merry Christmas to you. Absolutely. And this prudently. I'm glad you made it as well. It's awesome to see you guys. Absolutely. We've been so very, it's been chaotic. It's been so busy around here. It's been just absolute chaos. I've got to go to Alabama tomorrow. And Tuesday, we were going to be working on this room. I'm in the garage. We were going to start doing the walls in here, but now we have rain coming. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think Friday, and then Saturday. Letitia, how are you doing? It's good to see you guys. Very good to see everybody. I'm doing very well. Been very busy, but that's just proof that I'm still able to fulfill whatever the will is that the Lord's put on my life. And I'm trying. And there's Lindsay. Wow, awesome. It's so good to see you. It says, Toby and I here. Hope everyone is doing well. We are doing very good. Thank you so much. And there's Polly. Wow. Everyone's showing up tonight. Awesome. I apologize for the short notice on this. I was telling Butch a little while ago. I got home. I got done early today. I overdone it. My back is paying the price in a big time, and I had to knock off early. And I came home, got something to eat, and rested a bit. And I am not ready for bed. Normally, I go to bed. My normal time is about 8 o'clock, and so I decided it's early, and I'm going to share some of these other reports. If you see me scratching, I have not had a shower. I've been in the bush all day today. I had to cut a trail, a path. I made it right at 400 yards that I cut today with hand pruners and a handsaw, and my hands are sore. I am itching from all the little bugs and things. Oh, and then Brother Chris just messaged me. He always catches me when we're going on. I'm gonna let him know, so because he'll be calling me here in just a second. I'm gonna let him know on live show. Okay, he knows. All right, we're gonna be doing some. I've got such a variety here. Praise God for Brother Don. I asked him a while back. We were discussing the articles, the Sasquatch articles, and some of the oddball, the werewolf creatures, the Dogman, and we're going to take this all over the place. You know, it's fascinating stuff. It fascinates me. We've got hauntings, we got UFOs, and then the newest ones that I just got from him. If I can find it, I've got so many. I'm behind. Brother Don is on top of things. He's getting them to me, and I just have not had the time to put them out. Let's see, that is a Sasquatch one. This one is a Little People of Flores Island. We've got a lot of wild reports, and now these, for the most part, most of them are really old. Hey, Makaira, and there's Mike, brother Mike. The Long Island Bigfoot is here with us. Wow. And there's Lindsay Buckner. Who else do we have? Well, we're off to an awesome start. Thank you all for coming here. Absolutely, thank you. I really mean that. All right, this one here, I'm going to save this report. This is it's a two-part on the Barney and Betty Hill, and most of us are somewhat know a little bit about that. Hey, Franklin. Yeah, not not many people are getting notifications from all of their channels they're subscribed to, and I get very few. And I'm subscribed to a lot of you guys. I don't know how many channels I'm subscribed to, but it's a lot of them, and I very rarely get notifications. And I seen where Seven Pearls had posted like 3 or 4 videos back to back, and I just happened to go by and check, see what she was up to, and I didn't get a notification for any of them. But maybe YouTube one day will get it together. All right, do you guys want to? I'm looking to see how long the Betty and Barney Hill one is. Oh, okay, I see what I've done here. Okay, that is not part of it. Okay, that's why it looked kind of odd. Just bear with me just for a second. And I think these are some more high strangeness. I just want to make sure I'm on the right case. This should be Barney and Betty Hill. And I want to come back and do this one later, if you guys are all right with that. The Barney and Barney Hill, I can't talk. The Betty and Barney Hill. I do want to come back and do that one. And it's 2 sections to it. And what we'll do when we do this one, we'll do both of them together. And I did not separate that. I don't know why. I have not got it together. This is the first that I've opened this one. Tell you what, I will put a divider. This one's got to come out. This is not part of it. I am sorry. I should have done this before. I'm a little behind. But it's all right. It's all in good fun. I will get this right here in just a second, and we will get on with it. This is the... Okay, I think that is right. I'm sure that is right. All right. Yes, I got it. All right, we're going to come back to Betty and Barney Hill. We're going to do that at a later date. Oh, Bigfoot Mom is here. There's Brother Mike Stone. Awesome. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Mini Birds is here. Wow. Thank you all for coming over. Thank you, thank you. And I hope you guys find this entertaining. We're going to go through some... This is a little bit of everything right here. I'm about dehydrated. Um, we're just going to get on with it, so I ain't dragging you all out later than what you need to be out. All right, this one is on UFOs. This is various UFO reports in Florida from 1965, 2004. The locations of this report is the Everglades, Oak Hill, Fort Myers, Fort Pickens State Park, Deltona, and the Kennedy Space Center, Florida. And the information sources for this report is eyewitness testimony and police reports. And we'll go over the preface. It's short. The preface says, in more recent years, aerial phenomena reports have included and centered on strange triangular craft. Between the years of 92 and 2004, there was a rash of flying triangle sightings, with reports numbering in the dozens to UFO organizations and internet sites. Eyewitnesses also reported objects shaped like arrowheads, wedges, flying wings, and boomerangs. Are they experimental craft designed by our own government or ET in origin? The answers elude us, and the weirdness continues. All right. In 1965, in March, in the Everglades, a hunter was deep in the Everglades when he came upon a cone-shaped craft. Thinking it was the earthly thing to do, the hunter waved a friendly greeting as he approached. However, the craft was not too friendly. The man was knocked down by an intense beam of light that allegedly rendered him unconscious for 24 hours. Wow. In 1967, in Oak Hill, during the night, a couple of commercial fishermen from nearby Oak Hill observed a glowing flying saucer moving slowly over the water. They said it was a greenish object that made a soft whirring noise. When it got too close for comfort, the fishermen decided it was time to leave the area. The strange object trailed slowly behind them for about a mile before veering off toward the east, where it vanished over the Atlantic Ocean. In 1994, the Kennedy Space Center. Joe reported, I work at the Space Center and was on my way to work one morning in 1994 when I noticed a strange object in the sky about as high as a low-flying airplane. At first, I thought it was a plane, but then I watched it and got a very good look at what looked like a real big boomerang or flying wing with 3 lights on the underside. It appeared to have metallic skin, very shiny aluminum color. I don't know if it made any sound because I was in my truck, but it did not put out any exhaust that I could see. I would say that it came in from the ocean and sort of gained altitude once it got over land. It came right over the Space Center, so I know they must have known about it, but I could never find anyone else that saw it. I didn't want to say too much about seeing it because somebody might think I've gone loony. The Fort Myers Triangle, 1998, August 24th, in Fort Myers, an anonymous person reported, I was wondering if anyone saw several flying triangle UFOs in southwest Florida between midnight and 2 o'clock on the morning of August 24th, 1998. We observed a large triangle-shaped craft flying over West Fort Myers that appeared to be glowing on the bottom side, and it was moving extremely slowly from the south to the north, like it was following the Gulf Coast. I know there must have been other people to see this thing because it was very visible. It made no noise and was about the altitude of a small aircraft, but it was not a plane. Note, several reports of this object were made to UFO organizations and local authorities during July and August of 1998. Triangle seen near Pensacola, October 9th, 1999, Fort Pickens State Park near Pensacola. United States Air Force Sergeant Tom K. reported that they were at Fort Pickens State Park fishing when we saw a very odd airborne object approaching from the Gulf of Mexico. I've been in the Air Force for 10 years in aviation maintenance, and I have no idea what this thing was. It was shaped like a triangle and moved at a rapid rate on an erratic course. It first approached the coast at an estimated 1,000 to 2,000 feet altitude before reversing its heading westward over the Gulf. Several times it just stopped in midair, hovering like a chopper, but it wasn't a chopper. This was at night on October 9th, 1999, between 8 and 9 p.m. What was strange was it was lit by a strange bluish light that seemed to be arcing around the object like static electricity or St. Elmo's fire, which is sometimes experienced on aircraft. At times, this glow appeared more yellowish or orange, but would go back to bluish again. I noted an aircraft flying to the east of our location, and I'm sure it must have seen this thing. At one point, the craft appeared to be headed toward the Pensacola Navy base. Then it went through this zigzag routine and veered westward again. Don't ask me what it was. I'm not prone to seeing UFOs, but if I was, I would say this must have been one. I know one thing. It was no military aircraft. Wow. The Deltona Boomerang. January 18th, 2004, in Deltona. Miss KB reported, I live in Deltona between Orlando and Daytona and would like to mention an unusual aircraft that I saw. I was walking my dog near the golf course at midday, and this was not at night, and I had stopped to talk to a friend. The golf course is fairly open, so you can see the sky very well. We saw this object that was shaped like a boomerang. It was very long in length. I must say at least as long as a football field. Anyway, it came right over us. It was glowing white, so I could not tell if it was metallic. We turned to follow it with our eyes, and the object just disappeared. It like faded out of sight. I think we saw a UFO. I would say so. The Fort Lauderdale Beach Triangle. May 8th of 2004. In Fort Lauderdale Beach, an anonymous person reported we were on the beach of Fort Lauderdale and saw a flying craft shaped like a black triangle flying over the Atlantic Ocean. There was a trail behind this craft of rounded smoke rings, but not like the contrail behind an airliner. Several people on the beach saw this craft. It was way up there, at least 20,000 to 30,000 feet. We guessed it to be, at minimum, 10 sizes larger than the biggest jetliner. We watched it for a minute or two, then it went into a cloud bank and did not come out again. Wow. Them UFOs fascinate me. I do enjoy seeing them. If you guys have ever seen anything. Emma! Oh, awesome. There's Florida Boys, Ventures. JD? Good deal. Who else is here? People sneaking in. There's Francesca. Awesome. Sister Francesca. Hey, Brother Don is here. Good deal. I think I've forgotten everyone, I hope. Let's see. Where are we at? This one. Okay, I'm not sure what this one is, but we're gonna get into this one too. This one's titled High Strangeness at Parkersburg, West Virginia. The Case of Woodrow Derenberger and Ingrid Cold, 1966. The date was Wednesday, November 2nd of 1966, and the location was on Highway 77 southbound near the Staunton Avenue exit number 174 in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The information sources for this report is eyewitness testimony and family testimony to UFO investigators, local police, and local TV reporter from WTAP, the Derenberger TV interview of 1966, the book Visitors from Lanulos by Woodrow Derenberger, 1971, Eyes of the Mothman TV documentary of 2011, the book Beyond Lanulos, Over 50 Years with Ingrid Cold, in 2016 by Derenberger's daughter, Tanya Derenberger. And this one, this one's a little bit long, but I'm already interested just by what's on the title. Oh, so good to see you, Francesca. Thank you so much. It's always a blessing to see you. I'm glad you're here with us. Always bring that fire with you, and we're loving it. All right. Woodrow Derenberger's daughter, Tanya Derenberger, relates. Dad came in one night, November 2nd of 66, and he was as white as a sheet. First thing my mom thought and said was, "Did you hit someone on the side of the road in the rain?" He said, "No." They went into the kitchen. Of course, my brother and I were in the living room watching TV. I got up to go into the kitchen. I thought maybe Dad was sick. I was stopped and told to go upstairs. I went upstairs and peeked and listened downstairs, standing by a door. My dad told Mom about this encounter with a gentleman on the side of the road. The other drivers on the interstate did not see the spaceship, but they saw my dad talking to another man on the side of the road. The gentleman was standing on the passenger side while my dad was on the driver's side. Mom sensed Dad was terrified and confused, which prompted her to call the local police, who arrived with a local TV reporter from WTAP. When he came home, there were hundreds of people in our yard, and Mom was out serving coffee. Of course, I was out milling around, talking to the other children that were out there. I think I missed the page. No. Nope, I didn't miss the page. It's how it's written. I'm sorry. They wanted to see the spacesuit and the spaceman. Dad didn't talk too much about that, about the trips to the Lanulos, Lanulos, Lanulos. All I would know is that he would disappear for days and weeks at a time. Sometimes he would come back to tell us where he went, and sometimes he would come back and not remember where he had gone. That was quite frightening, especially to my mother, because she didn't know where he was. Ingrid Cold. He looked like an average man, maybe about 6 feet tall. He almost looked like he had been out in the sun and had gotten a really good suntan. I don't know why they call him the Grinning Man. I think it's kind of silly. He smiled just like you and I do. Dad said he spoke telepathically to him, but he would always speak in a regular voice to me, probably because, as a child, he thought it would frighten me. Ingrid Cole did seem to cause some kind of chaos in the Derenberger family's lives. Daughter Tanya says in the years following the encounter, Woodrow became a heavy drinker, sleeping very little and always seeming to be on the verge of a nervous collapse. Eventually, he would make his peace with his past and settle down. But Ingrid Cole had taken something from him, his family, and his past life. Daughter Tanya continues. I don't want to go into the rest of it, but yeah, a lot of it was because Dad was gone a lot of the time. A lot of it was because people were coming over all the time and Mom just couldn't take it. Mom denied a lot of this for years, and when she was dying in 2009, Mom and I had a long talk. She said something I had never heard before. She said she would go to the store and come home, and Dad would tell her what she bought, who she saw, and where she went before she barely got out of the car. This may sound weird to some people, but when my dad passed away in 1990 at the age of 74, Ingrid Cole was at his funeral. People didn't know it because they didn't know who he was. Ingrid was well into his 90s then. Dad didn't want to talk about a lot of it after the 1980s, whether he was still in contact with Ingrid Cole up till the time of his death. He and I spoke about a lot of it, but there was a lot he didn't want to discuss. He just wanted to get out of the limelight and get back into society. Now for the initial encounter. Woodrow Derenberger was a typical Appalachian man and a salesman for a sewing machine company who lived in Mineral Wells, West Virginia. On Wednesday, November 2nd, 1966, about 7:30 p.m., while returning from Marietta, Ohio to his home, he had a strange experience. He was driving in his red panel truck on Route 77 in Parkersburg, West Virginia. He claimed that he saw a flying metallic cigar-shaped craft. The ship traveled ahead and gradually made him slow down to a stop onto the side of the road. Woodrow also described the vehicle as resembling a kerosene lamp chimney. The aircraft was hovering about 12 inches off the road. A door opened on the craft and a being exited the ship, and the door shuts with a loud thump behind him. Later, the vehicle climbed about 50 feet into the air above the highway. The being walked right up to Derenberger's truck window. Derenberger described the being as looking like an ordinary man off the street, 6 feet tall, about 35 years of age, olive complexion, dark brown hair, and wearing a glossy metallic dark blue coat. The man spoke to Woodrow telepathically. His mouth did not move. Instead, he had a fixed smile on his face. The man looked in through the truck's window and said, without saying, something on the lines of, "Roll down your window. I want to talk to you." During their communication, the man called himself Ingrid Cole. He told Woodrow that he meant him no harm. In the famous Derenberger interview, he said, "I was very frightened, and as far as I can understand, this was all mental. There were not spoken words from him. I knew what he was asking me, but yet he stood there and his mouth did not move. He had a smile on his face. He appeared very courteous and friendly." Ingrid Cole and Mr. Derenberger's conversation lasted about 10 minutes. Cole told him, "We eat, we sleep, we bleed, even as you do," before returning to his flying craft and said, "We will see you again." Derenberger later reported this event to the police. The media storm. Woodrow's story gained traction in the media, gaining news cover and attention after the Parkersburg police were convinced of his story. A representative of the Air Force even contacted him soon after his accounts were documented. On November 3rd, 1966, during the media storm, he went live on live TV in Parkersburg, West Virginia, where he was interviewed by the state police, the Wood County Airport, the city police, and representatives from the Dayton Air Force Base. After the interview aired, an older man claimed that he too saw a figure matching the description of Ingrid Cole on Route 77, trying to flag him down, but he was afraid to stop. Derenberger's conversation with Cole would be corroborated. Other people claimed to see lights and fluttering vehicles at the same instant on the road. There were several witnesses that reported seeing Woodrow Derenberger stopped on the highway talking to this man, and some even saw the flying craft parked on the road. Reports poured in of strange lights in the sky and beings, all at the same time at the same place on Highway I-77 on that night of November 2nd, 1966. It was big news in the area for almost 3 weeks. The Parkersburg News chronicled Derenberger's story and a number of forthcoming witnesses, many of whom asked to remain anonymous or have their names withheld. John Keel talked with Woodrow Derenberger and conducted his own interview and investigation. Gray Barker, a science fiction writer from Braxton County, West Virginia, also talked with Woodrow. Over the course of the month that followed, Derenberger claimed he was visited by Indrid Cold many times and that he even took him on a spaceship to his planet. Indrid Cold would also appear at Woodrow's front door. His wife and children even knew that his Indrid Cold was paying him visits, and they even eventually came forward saying they too saw Indrid Cold and other strange beings. Woodrow's wife was terrified and stated that these beings were much like us, traveled in everyday cars, dressed in everyday clothes, but were not human in origin. There was even one time where Mr. Derenberger disappeared for 6 months and said he was with Indrid Cold. This is what members of his family actually believed. He would also receive mental messages from his long-distant friend. They would come suddenly and leave piercing migraine headaches. His residents would often receive strange unknown phone calls. Sometimes they were threats to stop speaking about his experience. Other times they were odd beeps and electronic hums. Sometimes it was just silence. The family changed their number to an unlisted one, but somehow the calls continued. His story gained such media attention that locals would flock to his house all hours of the day and night and wait in crowds in his driveway to catch a glimpse of his friend Indrid Cold. Bogle Ridge is another location associated with the story. Derenberger claimed to go there to meet with Indrid Cold and go on rides into outer space. Some locals claim to actually have seen spaceships land there. On one occasion, 2 men armed with loaded rifles were hiding in the woods by Derenberger's property. They observed a black Volkswagen enter his front yard. A peculiar man dressed in an all-black suit with tan skin exited and talked with Woodrow before leaving. The hunters were disappointed. They waited even longer, wanting to see something truly terrifying, but maybe they already had. Woodrow hadn't heard of the men in black, but after his visit, he was extremely frightened by them. Derenberger eventually decided to seek medical attention and the opinion of a Parkersburg psychiatrist. He not only leaves with a clean bill of health and absolutely no evidence of chemical imbalance or disruption, but his very doctor endures a reaction soon after their meeting. He is contacted in December by a most peculiar man, his name Indrid Cold. He doesn't reach out by phone, but telepathically. Now we're in the books. The section's titled Books. Woodrow Derenberger later related his stories to an author in 1971, and they published a book titled Visitors from Lanulus, which told of Woodrow's visits from Indrid Cold. The book contained a foreword dated October 12, 1969 by John Keel. Here are excerpts from John's foreword. There are many who will scoff at this book and reject it entirely. Woodrow Derenberger will be called a liar, a psychopath, and many other unpleasant things. He has already suffered considerable ridicule and condemnation even from those who believe in flying saucers, but do not wish to believe that someone is actually riding around in them. I cannot endorse his story, but I do feel I know the man well enough to give him a character reference. The important thing is that he seems to be telling the truth as he knows it. He sincerely believes that these things happen to him, and he is willing to expose himself to ridicule and condemnation in order to make himself heard. I have talked to contactee claimants who are doctors, lawyers, newspapermen, police officers, and pilots. Woody has a lot of company, sane, reputable people. Perhaps we are the ones who have been insane for ignoring them for so long. Strange, unbelievable things are now happening to people all over the world. By listening to the handful of courageous ones like Woodrow Derenberger, we may at last gain some real insight into what is really behind the UFO phenomena. I'm not asking you to believe any of it, but I am asking you to listen to what he has to say. Incredible though it may seem, it is very possible these very same things could happen to you tomorrow. In 1975, John Keel published his book, Mothman Prophecies, which detailed his experiences in West Virginia investigating UFOs and the Mothman. The book mentions Derenberger and his encounters with Indrid Cold, along with many other strange things that are said to have happened in West Virginia in 66 and 67. The aftermath. Woodrow's overall experience as a contactee didn't just negatively affect him, but his family and his closest friends. It came by the way of years of harassing phone calls, losing jobs, losing friends, people trespassing on his property, ridicule, embarrassment, painful headaches, and depression. He suffered a bitter divorce and had to move away from the area because of his notoriety. He would later tell how his writing would disappear from his locked house and letters he sent would never reach their destination. He felt he was being watched. He moved away to escape his past and lived elsewhere for a long time. Years later, he moved back to the area and passed away in 1990 at the age of 74. Derenberger never denied his earlier claims. He simply stopped discussing them. In 2002, the Mothman Prophecies movie loosely adapted John Keel's book. The film used the idea of Indrid Cold and even had a character named Gordon that was loosely based on Woodrow Derenberger. The Woodrow Derenberger interview tapes now sit in public view at the Mothman Museum. Glenn Wilson, who worked at WTAP-TV, had these reel-to-reel tapes for close to 30 years. He was going to throw them away on his retirement, but instead gave them to Susan Shepard, the creator of Haunted Parkersburg Ghost Tours, who loaned them to the museum. In 2011, a documentary called Eyes of the Mothman featured the Indrid Cold story. It told of Woodrow Derenberger's encounters, featured Susan Shepard's comments, and even included a dramatization of the event. A statement from a few years ago came from a woman, possibly Woodrow Derenberger's daughter, Tanya, that Indrid Cold's two sons, one being named Conrad, still occasionally visit her, and they related to her how their dad, Indrid, at some point had been killed in a spaceship vehicle accident. Wow. I got one bug harassing me on the. All right, these are. I'm going to get these pictures out so I can show them to you. All right, this here is the Woodrow Derenberger. I don't know if I can get it straight. That's the man who had the experience with Indrid Cold. Let's see, this is the 1971 book by Woodrow Derenberger, Visit from Lanulus. And that would be the book. If you guys can see that, I don't know if you can read it. I'm trying to look around the side. But that's the book that Mr. Derenberger wrote on his experiences with these, with this fellow, this Indrid Cold. This one is a paperback, Beyond Lanulus, Our 50 Years with Indrid Cold, written by Tanya Derenberger. That's the daughter. Where we at? Okay. I'm trying to get it straight. I'm sorry. Wow. I'm glad I don't have to go through nothing like that. What do y'all think of that one? A little long, but I certainly enjoyed that. I like the weird stuff like that. Oh, pardon me. Okay, I'm just going to put these to the side so we don't reread them. All right, we're going to hop around now. Let's see. I thought I seen. Oh, there's Kevin. Texas Jack is here. Oh, good deal. There's Polly. Who else we got? Making sure I'm not missing nobody. Oh, Mini Birds. I see you're looking for my email. I've got it on the bottom of the screen, the Standing Goats Rescue at yahoo.com. And I am very behind on my emails right now. Yeah, Mike, I think I've seen that story on X-Files also. It's been a long time ago. And there's Frogman. It's good to see you. Definitely good to see you. All right, this one's going to be all over too. This is High Strangeness. This next one, it is titled High Strangeness in Vidor, Texas. Dogman, UFOs, Bigfoot, ghost children, fog entities, school hauntings, shadow people, and secret cults. That's a long one to say. Diane, how are you doing? Diane D from Melbourne. Yeah, that's a little further than around the corner. We'll wait on you, Bama. Oh, there's going to be another accident out there. We are sick of accidents. Guys, I'm in the garage right now with the garage door open. It's such a beautiful night out. And I apologize for the highway noise. There's no getting around that here. But Tuesday, I should have the computer up sometime on Tuesday. And I'm going to do a test run with it once I figure it out. This will be my first real computer. So I have to figure out how that thing works. Okay, Bam and Bigfoot is back. Good. Okay, we're going to start then. And for those just getting here, I'm going to read the title one more time. It takes a few minutes. It's a very long title. This is titled High Strangeness in Vidor, Texas. Dogman, UFOs, Bigfoot, ghost children, fog entities, school hauntings, shadow people, and secret cults from 1978 to 2000. The location is in Vidor, Texas, which is Orange County. The newspaper and information sources for these articles is the Texas Leader newspaper, the Beaumont Enterprise newspaper, eyewitness testimony, police reports, sightings by local police, and book author notes. I drink that whole jug of water if I didn't have everybody staring at me right now. I love my water. All right. We're going to start. I'm going to read it as it is. It's broke up into a bunch of sections. All right, Dogman Preface. In the summer of 1978, rumors began circulating in the small community of Vidor, Texas, that a werewolf, what we have come to call Dogman, was on the loose. Local teens had reported seeing a shaggy-haired creature lurking in the forest. Some laughed it off, while others were concerned. On the night of June 19th, 1978, things escalated. A local newspaper reported, "Killer creature stalks Vidor area," by John Rice at the newspaper Texas Leader, June 20th and 21st of 1978. In Vidor, 20-year-old Bobby Bussinger got brave Monday night and decided to confront what North Tram Road residents near here are calling a werewolf. By the light of the full moon, he took his 12-gauge shotgun and walked to the back edge of his cleared lot. To his surprise, the erect form, described as taller than 6 feet, with long shaggy hair and a muscular body, did not scare. It came toward him. He fired a shot in panic as he turned and ran back toward his house. He barely made it, he said. Then he called the sheriff's office. Bobby and his 18-year-old wife, Becky, have lived in the house at 3925 North Tram Road for 14 weeks. It is owned by her father. The couple have only been married a short time, and they moved there 2 weeks after the wedding. Bussinger works as a laborer for a construction crew at the Goodyear Synthetic Rubber Complex near Beaumont. They knew when they moved in that the previous tenant left because of strange occurrences in the night. An elusive, roaming figure clawing at the window screens, howling and yelping like an injured dog. It wasn't that bad at first, Becky said today, from the safety of her parents' home in Beaumont, but Sunday night. Sheriff's Deputy Jack Reeves picks up the story. It was Reeves who responded Monday at 11:30 p.m. to the prowler call. The Bussingers told him that Sunday night 3 of their dogs were believed killed. The hindquarters of 2 were maimed and the dogs have died. 1 is missing. All 3 are puppies of mixed breed. Part of the 8 dogs the young couple kept on the property. Monday night after sundown, as the moon moved into full phase, they heard commotion like a good-sized dog fight, Reeves said. There was banging on the walls of the house and rapping on the windows. Heavy footfalls were heard outside, and an eerie barking and yelping filled the air. That's when Bussinger took his shotgun down. When the shot failed to produce the desired result, he called for help. Reeves reports that the situation is extremely serious. He saw window screens torn by what appears to be bare hands. Some of the frames are broken, and 4 screens are ripped off. At the edge of the cleared property, a footpath leads through 3 acres of heavy timber. At one time, Miss Bussinger walked the path in search of berries. That is the path used by the thing, as she calls it. It is well worn. Miss Bussinger said during one of her walks she saw a lean-to in the distance at the far edge of the timbered area. It was put together with scrap lumber and 3 limbs, she said. Reeves said he went to the timberline Monday to investigate. I heard growling and howling in the distance. It sounded like a cross between the noise a hyena makes and that of an injured dog. As I went into the woods, the sound came from further away, and I knew it was backing off, Reeves said. After consulting with Bussinger, Reeves decided to move his patrol car a block away and wait a few minutes for the prowler's return. As he sat in his car, his radio crackled with the dispatch that something was at the back of the house scratching and banging on the window screens. It had only been 5 minutes. I drove in, but my car was under a street light. It took me a matter of seconds to hit the driveway, but it had backed off. Reeves said, I saw it about 50 yards off, a large form in the shadows. It was between two small oaks that form a V. I shined the spotlight and it moved into the woods, he said. That was enough for the Bussingers. They packed their belongings under Reeves' watchful eye and headed to Beaumont. Reeves said today he has not ordered any silver bullets, but he has consulted with his superiors, and there will be a follow-up investigation, probably a stakeout. I was skeptical at first, and so was Bussinger, but it's gotten pretty serious with the property destruction and now the dogs, he said. As far as the Bussingers are concerned, the one-story frame house will stand vacant until the prowler is caught. I'm not going near that place until they find it, whatever it is. Additional details. The Bussingers staying away apparently didn't last very long, because they returned the very next night and again observed the creature the following morning at 8 a.m. This led to Sheriff Reeves and a 6-man team scouring the dense undergrowth on North Tram Road for the werewolf. All through the day and night, officers were inundated with curious seekers and rowdy, drunken, armed rebel rousers, all hoping to catch a glimpse of the werewolf. They were advised to stay away from the area. The sheriff's office, desperate to squash any talk of a werewolf and calm the public, indicated to the press that they had a suspect. If it's the man we think it is, he's been in Rusk State Mental Hospital before. And from what I hear, it will take 5 or 6 men to bring him in. No follow-up information was ever made available to the public as to whether the werewolf or escaped mental patient was caught. 5 years later, June and July of 1983, Vidor would be visited by different phenomena, UFOs. Yeah, that's creepy. I don't want no part of one of them things. Oh, there's Connor. It's good to see you, buddy. And there's Kevin. Good deal. I probably missed somebody. Yasmin, how are you doing? Making sure I am not missing nobody else. If I did, I apologize. I'm not skipping over anyone intentionally. All right, the next chapter of this story is titled Big Silver Star Gives Rise to UFO Thoughts. It's written by David Widener at the newspaper Beaumont Enterprise of June 7th, 1983. The star-shaped floating object moves swiftly and soundlessly through the air, giving off a periodic glow, following and troubling a group of Vidor residents and baffling weathermen, air traffic observers, and police. Dolores Cherry, 52, of Vidor, who has seen and described in detail what she calls an unidentified flying object. Others reported having spotted the object in the past 10 days, but so far the reports have received no official confirmation. We've been kind of afraid since we've seen it so much, Sherry said. It's kind of like it's following us. Sherry, her nephew Byron Cole, her sisters Joan McIntyre and Wilma Cole, and Cole's two daughters say they have seen it hovering at midnight in the Sandra Lane area. Sherry and McIntyre say they first spotted it 10 days ago following them as they drove west on the interstate from Orange, and that the object disappeared on Farm Road 105. Some of those witnessing the sighting Sunday night say they have seen a strange object in the sky several times over the past 10 days. Nobody believes anything like this, and you get laughed at. So no one wanted to report it at first, says Sherry. I've seen it 4 times, twice coming back at night from Orange. It's really weird. I just really like to know what it is. It puts off red and blue vapor and has a glow around it at times, but it makes no noise. McIntyre saw it for the first time Sunday night. It looked like a light and was moving fast, but you couldn't tell what shape it was. Another relative, Georgette Cole, finally reported the sighting. My husband went out to get some cigarettes from the car and spotted it, says Cole. There were about 14 of us at my grandmother's house. No one wanted to report it because they knew they would get laughed at. I decided to do it, so I called the Vidor police. Patrol Officer David Watson responded to the call and remained on the scene for 30 minutes. In my opinion, it was clouds passing in front of a real bright star. It would be real bright, then it seemed to disappear. Officer Watson eventually left the area. McIntyre claims they continued to watch the object move sideways and up and down, remaining in the area until a helicopter arrived on the scene. They both disappeared. McIntyre and the others assumed it was a police helicopter sent to investigate, but they weren't sure. All I could see was the lights, but it looked and sounded like a helicopter. It was moving slow like one. Police verified they had dispatched an officer to the scene that night, but the closest helicopter in Houston, Texas, had not been dispatched to the scene on that night. Air traffic controllers stated, "Our log indicates nothing unusual showing up on radar at the time of the sighting. Our radar will not show or pick up anything below 1,000 feet altitude, so it's still possible something may have been in that area. We only work helicopters that are landing or coming into our airport." Fred Wesley at the National Weather Service, who was on duty with the call about a UFO, came in, stated, "I checked the Lake Charles and Galveston radars and there were no unusual sightings. The weather was mostly clear at that time with visibility for 7 miles, so one of the airports would have had to pick up any aircraft in the area." He also stated that no weather balloons were in the area on Sunday night. Conclusion. What were the lights that were seen? Were they surveying something? What was the strange helicopter-like craft that was sent to intercept the lights, and by whom? Obviously, someone was aware of the UFO lights over Vidor, but who? Wow, that's strange. Definitely strange. Oh, now we're on to the hairy one. Oh, Rosemary, how are you doing? All right, we are now going to Bigfoot. And this would also be the Vidor, Texas. Oh, excuse me. All right. On June 20th, 2000, at about 1 a.m., a man was driving home from work when he spotted a 5-foot-tall creature by the side of the road with red eyes and black hair. After stepping out of his truck and shining a spotlight at it, the creature looked at him, raised its arm over its head, and growled at him. It then turned and ran behind a nearby house. One would question if this was a juvenile Bigfoot. Yep, I would say so. Okay, that one was short. All right, its next chapter is Other Strangeness. Nina Lautner's 2013 book titled Ghost of America, Texas, notes the small town of Vidor having numerous reports of ghostly children, fog-like entities, a haunted middle school, and shadow people. Even further disturbing is locals reported seeing figures in dark robes performing strange rituals in the woods and near the Four Oaks Ranch. One eyewitness told Lautner the cult met in the ruins of Four Oaks Ranch in the woods before it burned down. I'm not sure if it really was a satanic group. It may have just been a coven of Wiccans. My buddy and I accidentally interrupted their ceremony one night. We weren't up to no good, just dumb teenagers out for adventure. They chased us to my truck. They carried knives and wore dark hooded cloaks. These were not kids. They were adults, and my buddy claimed he recognized one as a very prominent member of the community. I'm dubious about that, but I believe he believed it. Another person wrote Lautner, when I was an infant baby, my father attended several meetings of a secret Satanist group that used to meet in the woods of Vidor at night. He only attended a few meetings and was so disturbed by what he saw. He still rarely talks about it to this day. In conclusion, dogmen, UFO lights, Bigfoot, ghost children, fog entities, school hauntings, shadow people, and secret cults. What is it about this small Texas town that attracts such high strangeness? The answers are elusive, but one thing is for sure. Numerous eyewitnesses, including local police, can attest to otherworldly sightings and encounters in Vidor, Texas. Well, that was pretty good. I like that. Gene and Chris is here. Creepy Unsolved. Awesome. It's good to see everyone. Make sure I'm not missing nobody. Yeah, absolutely, Makaira. I'm glad I'm not haunted by aliens either. I don't think that would work out so good for me. I can't run. I'm too banged up. Oh, it's so good to see everyone. Still crazy, Chris. Always seeing her. Let's see where we're going to go to. Here's one in Florida. I think we'll do this one. If y'all are up for it. It's not very long. This is the ghost of Henry Flagler, St. Augustine, Florida. Oh. This little chair is not very comfortable. It's my hunting chair. But normally it feels a little better when you got it sitting on dirt. It don't feel so good on this concrete. I just got to get my wallet out of the way. It's hurting my rear end. All right, we are. Well, that melted on me. All right. Okay, sorry about that. Ooh, I can't see. That's better. All right. We're going to move on with this one. Guys, if y'all have any stories, any encounters, if you've had experiences with a haunting in your home, your childhood home, where you're at now, if you've experienced anything weird like that and you want to share it with all of us here, email me at standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com, and we'll either bring you on and let you tell your story yourself, or if you want to email it to me and I'll read it, it doesn't matter. We are open for all of it. If you'd like to share it yourself, but you don't want your name to get out, there's a way we can get around that. The name right at the bottom of the screen, right here by my finger, where I got my name up, you can put whatever name you want people to see you by right there. But if it's something you'd like to do, if you have a story about something you've experienced, you want to share with us, just email me, reach out to me, and we'll get you up here. Michigan Aboriginal Project. Howdy, y'all. Altika Pika Hut. I think I actually said that right. It's good to see you. Thank you for hopping over and hanging out with us. Oh, this one's got it's got a picture. I'm going to take this out, I think. Oh, my fingers are so sore. This may be something. I think this goes with this story. I think it does. We'll figure out in just a minute. This story is not very long. This article, and we will go with it. This is the ghost of Henry Flagler, St. Augustine, Florida. The years 1913 to present day. The location is the former Hotel Postilion in St. Augustine, Florida, which is now Flagler College as of 1968. The information source for these reports is eyewitness testimony of visitors and employees. Henry Flagler was a tycoon who built the Florida East Coast Railroad running from Jacksonville to Key West. Along this line, he also built several elaborate resort hotels. 3 of Flagler's hotels, the Alcazar, the Cordova, and the Postilion, were in St. Augustine. Today, the Alcazar is the Leitner Museum. The Cordova is still a hotel, and the Postilion has been Flagler College since 1968. Floridians either loved or hated Flagler, depending on their socioeconomic level. He catered mainly to wealthy Northerners and to most local folk. His ideas and money were an unwanted threat to their way of life. When Henry Flagler died in Palm Beach in 1913, his body was shipped by train to St. Augustine and laid out in the rotunda of his beloved Postilion Hotel. But when the pallbearers began to carry the casket from the hotel to the Presbyterian church for burial, the rotunda's huge doors mysteriously slammed shut as if blown by the wind. The big doors were reopened and the procession continued on to the church. That afternoon, when a janitor was cleaning up in the rotunda, he noticed something unusual. There at his feet, he saw the image of Henry Flagler's face in one of the tiny floor tiles. The tile was first noticed on the afternoon of Flagler's funeral, and it is still there today, 108 years later. It is a fun game for visitors to try to find it. Some said that Henry vowed to never leave his hotel, and it appears that he held to his promise. Students of Flagler College have had many ghostly experiences that are believed to be either Henry Flagler or his second wife, Alice. Ask any student about the haunting of Flagler College, and most will respond with a ghost story they've heard or perhaps their own encounter with Henry. Okay, this is, I'm going to put these together so you're not seeing through it. Flagler College, formerly Hotel Postilion in St. Augustine, Florida. And I'm going to show you guys a picture of it. Let me make sure I'm getting this in frame. Right there. Move my fingers out of the way. You can see that. That's a beautiful place. One day I'm going to have me a house like that. And it'll probably burn down before I can get the insurance on it. I don't need nothing like that. All right, this is the rotunda of Flagler College in St. Augustine. And that's where the giant doors slam shut. How would you like to have that as living quarters? That's a beautiful, beautiful place. Our brother Don Moore isn't too far from that area. He's the one who sent these to us. Let's see, where are we at? Which one? All right, this one. Okay, this one's got pictures. Gee whiz, I can't hardly open the binder. This thing up. Oh, there we go. Yeah, absolutely, Bama. I would definitely be in heaven to have something like that. All right, this is titled The Haunting of Ashley's Tavern in Rockledge, Florida. The year from the 1920s to the present day. The location is Ashley's Tavern in Rockledge, Florida. It's due east of Kissimmee along the East Coast. The information source of this report is eyewitness testimony from employees, patrons, and paranormal investigative teams and spook hunters of Orlando, Florida. Ashley's is a popular eatery and pub on US 1 in Rockledge, Florida that has a long haunting history. Built in the 20s, this half-timbered Tudor style structure looks more like something you'd find in the English countryside than in Florida, which makes it a good backdrop for its ghostly reputation. Although the place has changed hands several times since it was built, the paranormal antics have pretty much remained standard poltergeist stuff, like dishes flying off shelves, lights turning on and off, patrons being pushed by unseen hands, that sort of thing. One night after closing, a team of paranormal investigators claimed to have observed a chair levitate and move across the room where it gently settled on the floor. What separates Ashley's from other haunted places is the high number of patrons and employees who have witnessed these occurrences. Although strange things have been experienced through the entire building, the main concentration seems to be in the ladies' room, where women have reported a choking feeling. Okay. Others say toilet paper rolls have mysteriously unraveled from their spools, windows have opened by themselves, latches have unlocked, and faucets have turned on by themselves. Some women say they've seen an apparition in the restroom mirror of a young girl dressed in roaring 20s garb. A former waitress says that in 2 instances, women have come screaming out of the restroom, vowing never to return. They never stopped long enough to explain exactly what they had seen, so we are left to assume it was a ghost. Hey, Ladybug. Hey, Gracie, don't you start getting into stuff. Over the years, the tavern has been checked out by numerous ghostbusters, with the serious ones using sophisticated instruments like tri-field meters to measure electromagnetic currents, microwave and magnetic sensors, and special infrared thermograph equipment for detecting cold and hot spots. Investigators have indeed detected unexplained cold spots, swirling smoke-like images, and unusual energy fields within the building. However, some spook sleuths have complained they could not document anything because either their equipment malfunctioned or their batteries mysteriously went dead. There's a number of tales about who haunts Ashley's. One story says that the building is sitting on an old Indian burial ground. Others tell of a boy who was killed on the railroad that runs behind the restaurant, or of a girl who was killed in an accident out front on the highway. There are no historical records to support any of these claims. However, another story about a murdered girl does have some credibility. According to the story, the girl was Ethel Allen. She was 19 years old when, in 1920, she was brutally murdered in the restaurant's storeroom and dumped in the Indian River. Ryan Lewis, who produced a short documentary film called Ashley's Shadow, researched the story, plowing through microfilms of old newspapers of the day. He found that Ethel Allen had indeed been murdered, but not in the 20s. It was in 1934. Her decomposed body was found burned, mutilated, and dumped in the Indian River south of Rockledge near Ugalee. The only pieces of evidence were a nylon stocking wrapped around her neck, the initials BK tattooed on her leg, and a ruby ring on her finger. Authorities were never able to determine whether she was killed, so there's nothing that says the scene of the crime was. Oh, the authorities were never able to determine where she was killed, so there's nothing that says the scene of the crime was in the tavern. However, further research shows that in 1993, Ashley's was known as Jack's Tavern and that the proprietor was Jack Allen. Perhaps the murdered girl, Ethel Allen, was a relative of this owner. In his quest, Lewis located Ethel's grave, discernible by a small homemade cement marker in an old cemetery on Merritt Island in the Indian River, almost directly across from the tavern. Spook hunters of Orlando did a late-night investigation of Ashley's. The management had graciously allowed the group, led by Owen Slider, to remain after closing to check the place out. Slider, who jokingly wore a bright orange Ghostbusters-like jumpsuit, described himself as a skeptic with an open mind. While he believes that the power of suggestion is responsible for most ghost sightings, other members of his spook hunting organization truly believe that something strange was going on in the tavern. The hunt bagged no apparitions, but a strange floating orb was captured in a photograph in the dining room. Of course, the orb was offered as evidence of haunting by the believers, but was explained away by the skeptics as a photographic flaw. Ashley's has a great seafood platter, but the only spirits being seen were those being served at the bar. Yet the strange tales about this place are intriguing and worth keeping an open mind about. Is Ethel's spirit haunting Ashley's, perhaps trying to identify her killer? Who knows? Testimonies from former employees and others. JS says, I know Ashley's is haunted. I worked there when I was 18 in the kitchen, and things were always jumping off the shelf and breaking, like plates and cups. One time, a knife flew across the kitchen like somebody threw it, but nobody was there but me and the cook. The worst times are after the place closes. I used to clean up and would be there all by myself, and I could hear all kinds of noises, like voices or people walking. I finally quit because I didn't like being there by myself at night. Sharon H. says, you should check out Ashley's Tavern in Rockledge on US 1. Even the manager believes it's haunted, and I've talked to many workers and the bartender, and they all say the same thing. Randy says, I can only say that I believe something is going on there, and it's probably something like poltergeist activity. I think it's some kind of psychic energy being projected by one of the people that work there. I say this because almost everything that has been reported about the place has to do with objects moving or things floating in the air. But something weird is going on there, and it ought to be looked into by scientists. Ruby Ring says Ethel Allen was killed there in the 20s or 30s, and the activity at Ashley's is most likely the spirit of her. It is a fact that she was murdered and they found her body in the Indian River. It is also a fact that she worked at the tavern. I have read the old newspaper article that is available to anyone at the Brevard County Library. I do not think the other stories about Ashley's hold any water. If there is a ghost, then it is Ethel. Or Ethel. I guess it's Ethel. There are 7 pearls. Laxride says, Ashley sounds like a case of poltergeist activity, which may not be a ghost, but energy emitting from a living person. Read some accounts about poltergeist cases, and in almost every one, there will be an adolescent female involved. In my opinion, it's poltergeist. It is strange, but true. Coco32 says, I have been a customer at Ashley's Tavern for years. I can say that on 2 occasions I did experience something strange. Once, when the mirror in the woman's bathroom fogged up while I was looking at it. There was no reason for this to happen. And the other time, I had a drink sitting on the bar and the glass just tipped over by itself. I did not knock it over. It just fell over by itself, and it really happened to me. The newspaper article about Ethel Allen's murder, recovery of a mutilated body on Wednesday near Ugalde, murdered, burned, cast into the river. Miss Ethel Allen left home early Sunday for Wakulla. The partly decomposed nude body of a girl identified as that of Miss Ethel Allen, 19, Coco, was discovered on the banks of the Indian River, a short distance from north of Ugalde, about 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. Identification was by Miss Finney of Coco, with whom Miss Allen boarded. The victim was murdered, mutilated, burned, and cast into the Indian River. The only evidence recovered was a nylon stocking wrapped around the victim's neck, a ruby ring on her finger, and the initials BK tattooed on the back of her leg. Robbery is not suspected as the motive. Miss Finney told authorities that Miss Allen had left home early Sunday for Wakulla. It was estimated that Miss Allen's body had been in the water for at least 3 days. The sheriff stated that the investigation is underway and that no other details are known at this time. And this is the front of Ashley's Tavern in Rockledge, Florida. I think I got it on there. Yeah. And that's in Rockledge, Florida. This is the bar in Ashley's Tavern in Rockledge. I think y'all can see that. Okay. And what is this? This is a spirit entity on the stairs in Ashley's Tavern. All right, this is a spirit somebody caught on camera. Oh, I can see it. I can see it better in the screen. I'm looking at the screen. It's a little easier to see on screen than it is at the paper. That does look like a spirit, doesn't it? That is neat. That is really fascinating. All right. That was interesting. Where are we at? All right. I think what we'll do, we've got a ton more, but I'm going to, we'll be doing another show in a day or two. Well, it won't be tomorrow. I've got to go out of state. I got my appointment. My doctor's appointment is tomorrow. Oh, but I'm planning on setting the computer up on, yeah, there, Gracie, on Tuesday. It's supposed to rain from Tuesday, I think, till Tuesday through Friday, and then a little bit on Saturday, and then the rain comes back for Sunday. And we can't do what we need to do in here. In this room where I'm at, you got, this is our garage storage area. It is packed. All of this stuff's got to come off. This shelf here is about 8 foot, 9 foot long. It goes all the way to the other wall, and it's packed. We got to get all this stuff off the walls and out of here so that we can get to the walls to put up the metal. And we can't drag all this stuff out on the driveway if it's going to be raining. There's a lot of things here that can't be in the weather. So if all goes well, I should have if I get the computer put together fairly early on Tuesday, I may just do a short show to try to get it to connect and figure it out, because it's going to be very different from the laptop that I was using. And I've just got to figure out how to work it. It's got to have all the stuff's got to be updated, and I'm sure that's going to take a while. I know that that laptop, because of the age of it, it took 2 days for all that stuff to get updated. But I'll get that done, and as soon as we get it plugged up and get it turned on, I'm going to get all the updating stuff started right away. Get that out of the way so we don't have to fool with it. As soon as it is ready to run, we'll do a short show just to make sure that everything's working right, so I can get a report from you all how the microphone sounds, how the camera quality looks. On my end, it always looks better. I can't hear the sound at all unless I go back and watch it on YouTube. And if you ever listen to yourself on camera, you never sound the way that you expect yourself to sound. And I don't like hearing myself. It kind of creeps me out because I know it doesn't sound like the way that I actually sound, and it kind of bothers me a little bit. So I don't listen to me. I guess I need to a little more. I've got a lot of video footage I've got to go through. I have not had time to do that, but I've got quite a bit. We took Rosie to the parade last night, Panama City parade, the Christmas parade, and I filmed the whole thing while we was there, and she enjoyed it. She got a pile of candy, and I mean a pile, more than what she got on Halloween. And I filmed the whole thing when we got there, and it was nice. We take her to stuff like that, to the rodeos and all them little things. And I'm always filming. If I am away from the house, I'm filming. I film when I drive. Wherever I'm at, I'm always filming. It's something that I've done as far back as I can remember. And 95% of the video that I record, I end up deleting later. I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I film so much, but I enjoy it. It's what I do. I talk to myself a lot. When I'm in the woods, I went today. I had to do some work out there, and it dawned on me. I talk to myself, and when I film, I stopped filming because I was so far back, and everything went quiet. It went very, very quiet, and I stopped and I turned the camera off to where I could focus on what was happening around me. I didn't have it. Nothing happened out of the ordinary, other than it sounded like somebody just turned the volume off to everything. There wasn't a sound. And it was so weird because I can hear the highway, I can hear the vehicles passing back there. And for probably a minute straight, there was no sound of any cars. There was nothing. It was such a very odd experience. But soon as the sound started coming back, it started with a breeze. A breeze come through the trees. You could hear the leaves rustling, and then it passed me, and it got on the other side of the trail. And then I could hear the cars again, and then I could hear the few birds that were chirping here and there. It's like the sound came back. It left, I guess, with the wind, but it came back with the wind. It was really strange. And I realized what I believe the reason I'm always filming is for the fear of what's out there. I get scared when I'm out there by myself, and I film. And I talk to the camera just like you guys are right there with me, and I'm talking to you, and that's what I do. And it takes the edge off. And it's never really dawned on me why I film so much until today. And it's just a mental thing. It's comforting to think you have other people out there with you, especially when I found 2 footprints out there. I think yesterday. I went there a couple of times this week. Not hunting. We're trying to get through to the north end of the property. And so I'm cutting trails, and I found 2 footprints out there. And there's no way to really get in there. I had to cut my way in. And some of the stuff I was cutting was like this. I had with a handsaw, a little short, the foldable handsaw that I used for hunting. I carried that in my pruners, and I cut and cut. Yesterday, I ended up going, or day before, whenever it was, yesterday, day before, I cut 630 yards into the woods. And I got to a point that there's a little, it's not a pond, but it is wet area. It's holding water and a lot of water grass. And where I came out on that water, 8 foot in front of me was the other bank. I could walk through it. It wasn't deep, and it opened up to the right of me, which was east of me. It went in and it opened up. It was shaped almost like a banana, probably 100 yards long and 20 yards wide at the widest point. And that was to my right side. Across from me and toward the wide part of it, I heard what sounded like somebody, what I assume was a bear, because I've never heard a pig make the noise, and it sounded like somebody was in pain, like had stomach pains, and they were moaning. And as soon as I heard it, I pictured somebody in my mind. I just immediately pictured somebody laying on their side, holding their stomach and moaning. That's what it sounded like. I could hear the breathing and then the moans, like it was a struggling. And then I had a really weird whistle, that a very short whistle. There was no note to it, no musical sound at all. It was just a short, like a signal, like a signal whistle. And that came from directly to my right side, directly east of me, on the same side of this wet area that I was on. And then I heard it again, same spot. And I was listening to that moaning. And then in front of me on the other side of the water, but back to the left of me, I heard the same whistle, and that done it for me. I grabbed my stuff and I went back to the truck. I had a shotgun with me for the wild pigs, and we did find bear tracks out there. And so I got my sidearm on all the time, and then I had the shotgun just in case. Got it loaded to the gilt, and I got a pocket full of shells for it. It was just a really weird experience. So today when I went out, I did not go to the same area. I went to a completely different spot, and I was working on cutting that area out. And that's when the sound went away, and I had the camera off, and it creeped me out to the point when the sound came back. It was sort of a no-brainer. It's time to go. And so I turned the camera on, started recording, and I just tried to be calm and leave without panicking. But the hair on the back of my neck was standing up like somebody was right behind me. I could see 100 feet behind me. There was nobody there, but just my brain playing tricks on me had me convinced that I was being followed, and I wasn't. There was no sounds of anybody following me. I spooked myself. But today I left early. By 3 o'clock, I was halfway home, and I've been leaving there about 4:15. I leave before the sun goes down, and today I couldn't do it. I got spooked too bad, so I left. Oh, yes. I am always careful out there. I try to keep my head on a swivel. And I don't remember who I was speaking to. I think it was one of you about a year or two ago. I was discussing about why I'm always filming, and I normally at any given time I'll have probably 20 or 30 hours of video on memory card. Like I do right now, I have a lot of video that I got to go through. I even got a lot of it on my phone that I took, but I've always got video. And someone was telling me about the filming out there, and they said if you got if these creatures are around you, not just the Sasquatch, but these other things, if they hear you talking, like if you're filming and you're talking to the camera, they believe that these creatures, whatever they are, they know what our language is. Whether they understand us, we don't know, but they know when we're talking. That's how we communicate to one another. And when I'm talking to the camera, it throws them off that they think that I'm not alone. There's somebody else out there with me, and I'm talking to them, so it kind of keeps them back, and it makes sense. I don't know if that's the truth, but in my mind, it sounds like it is. It does make sense to me, but I have no problem. I talk to myself all the time when I'm out there. I get very, very nervous. Uh, uh, I just see Connor is, Chattahoochee Hospital. Yeah, Brother Connor is full of energy. Yeah, Connor and I are going to be getting together soon, and we got some things in the works. And once we get everything established, what we got planned, then I'll let you guys know what's going on. We just right now we're in the early stages of what we're going to do, but I'll definitely let you know. JCL, how are you doing? So good to see you. I seen JD earlier, and every time I see JD on there, I always think it's JCL, and I don't know why. I mess myself up. Uh, but is it anybody? Do you have any prayer requests you'd like me to put up on the screen before we close out tonight? If you do, please put it in all caps, and I will highlight it and put it on the screen, and we'll read it out so that everyone knows. I have not seen AV here tonight. AV Rico. He's my brother from Oklahoma. As soon as I can get, we're going to work on getting me a better motorbike suited for travel. Mine it's just a sport bike. It's not like it's a Harley Davidson, but it's not the big touring bike, and it's very hard on my back. Oh, that thing rides rough. And we were going to trade it in, and I was going to get a used bigger bike, a tour bike. And Kim's van or minivan, we had to put it in the shop again recently. It's making a weird noise. We already had an appointment to get the valves adjusted. We took it in 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and or we got it back 2 days ago. They had it for 3 days, I think. But the noise, you remember recently the big pulley on the front of the motor, the harmonic balancer broke. They got us a new one. With that one was going out, and that was the noise. And so they warranted it. That didn't charge us. They put a new one on it, but it's got something else going on. And when you hit the gas, you throttle just a little bit, there's a weird tinging noise. Maybe one of the axles is front wheel drive. I don't know, but we're gonna try to find a little bit newer minivan for Kim, and we're gonna trade that one in and get her something with lower miles on it, more reliable. And once we do that, then I'm going to work on getting me a bike that I can get on the road and come and I'm going to, there's so many of you I'm going to go and meet that I won't be able to drive across the ocean, of course, but it'll just take time. But eventually I'd like to meet everybody. Just go up and shake your hand, hug your neck, and maybe buy you lunch or something. I'm going to get out. Francesca still needs prayers for her hands. I'm going to put that up. Our sister Francesca needing prayers for her hands. Guys, please, you know what we do when people are in need of prayer. Please add her to your prayer list. Francesca was here with us. I seen her earlier. She may not be with us right now, but she was definitely here. That lady is on the go all the time. It's been really, really busy, but there's so many people that are in need of prayer. So many people that are in a bad way right now. If it's not physical, it's spiritual, or they're dealing with mental things. Our sister Jean, who just shared this that I got on screen now. God bless her. Her daughter went home recently to be with the Lord, and it's a hard thing to go through. I went through it when I lost my son a few years ago, and it's temporary, and that's what gets me through every day with him not being here. Is it's just temporary. I'll see him again, but it's still hard. It's never easy when your child beats you to the final destination. That's not easy at all, but we'll absolutely see them. We'll see all of them again. Well, Brother Eric, Gypsy Road. If you guys, if you haven't caught any of the shows, the podcasts that Eric does on Gypsy Road, you ought to check them out. It gets a little fired up at times, but they really have some very fascinating subjects that they discuss on there quite often. And I went over and did a show with them once or twice. I can't remember now, but just fantastic people. I mean, they really treated me like gold, and I absolutely appreciate it. Eric's really good people. And our brother Connor from Bigfoot Anonymous, he's over there with Eric quite often, and they really they do a good show. It's a lot of knowledge. Connor is slap full of knowledge. He's high energy, probably more than anybody that I've ever met, but he's smart. Connor has really got a noggin on him. What did we? Yeah, we lost. There's so many people that are here that are dealing with a lot right now. A lot of people, if it's not losing a loved one that their job got finished and they went home, then it's dealing with financial issues. It's dealing with physical issues. There's so many things that are happening. You're absolutely welcome, Connor. Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Eric. And I'm going to throw this up so you guys can see. This is Eric. He's got a lot going on. I mean, this man is always doing something as far as putting content out. And if you get time, just check him out. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But it's, that we have free will here, and you don't have to subscribe to everybody that you come across. If it's something that's not if it's not in your cup of tea, if it's not for you, then you don't have to subscribe to them. But don't never do a thumbs down on videos. If you don't like it, just pull out and leave. Go somewhere else, because that's no different than saying bad things about someone. And there's some stuff going on right now. I talked to one of our brothers from the channel earlier tonight, and there was another show up. And oh, Denise, it's so good to see you, Denise Bright. But he was telling me he called a show a podcast of some sort, and it was on the big guys. It was about the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and they were really bashing some other groups that they have channels here and they do their own thing, and it bothers me because the people they're bashing, I know these people, and I'm not in agreement with everything that they do, but I'll never in a million years bash them. I mean, these are my friends. These are people I really care about. And anybody, whether you like them or you don't, if they're doing stuff you don't believe in, there's just as an example, these channels that are doing ghost hunting, searching out the dead. I don't believe in talking to the dead. I absolutely do not believe that. I did it at one time. It brought me down a very bad road, and it was a very bad experience. And it led to me having a visitor on the inside of me, a spiritual visitor, and I had to get help through some holy people to get it removed. And it was something I wish on nobody. But I'm not going to go and bash these other channels. I enjoy seeing what people find, even though I don't agree with it. But there's a lot of channels on here. All they're about is bashing the Democrats, or they're bashing the Republicans, and I don't care for none of that. Um, if you believe your beliefs lead you to want to vote, and you decide you want to be a Republican, or you decide you want to be a Democrat, and that's your choice. It's how you believe. Follow that. Support what you do, but don't bash somebody else because they believe differently. And that's what this other podcast was doing. And the people that were bashing were people that all of you know. Um, and this other group, they got a project going on. All of you know about it, and they've been working really hard at doing it. It's their thing, and they're dedicated to it. And this other group just doesn't believe in what they're doing and really bashed them in a bad way. And it's just horrible. Adults are doing that to other people. It's something you'd expect from a 5-year-old, but not once people hit 19 years old. They get beyond that. A little name calling and fighting, but it's minor stuff, but not for adults. And it bothered me. I know it wasn't from any of you at all. It was a different group. I know some of the people that were doing the bashing. One of them, I never thought in a million years that I would hear something like that coming from him. But people are different. A lot of times they put up a whole different cover than who they truly are. But eventually the truth comes out. If you're bad at heart, it will eventually come out. You can't keep that stuff hidden. All things will be revealed. But who do we got here? I'm looking. If I missed y'all, I'm going to go back and make sure. Bigfoot Anon, the next 168. Very cool. Awesome. 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 Aaron. Yes, we've had a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Aaron. That went right past me. I didn't even see it. Oh, thank you, Francesca. She said she just pulled up Gypsy Road. Good deal. And they have they really get into some wild stuff, that Gypsy Road. And if you ever are looking at if you want to look into different books of reading about any subject that's out there, the Bigfoot phenomenon, the Dogman, the alien, the UFO, any of it. Connor from Bigfoot Anonymous, I'll almost bet my life on it. He's already read the books and researched it. For his age, that man has more knowledge on these type of subjects than anyone I've ever met, and it's just the honest truth. My brother Connor is on fire with knowledge, and you guys see the energy that he has here. That is Connor. That's the way he is in person. That is him. He is wide open, and I love that about him. It sets him apart. There is no other Connor. There's only one. But he's a great man. I love him to death. Oh, look at there. I'm going to put that up. I just seen where Connor put it on there. My next few books are being put out through Beyond the Fray. Mom and I got a book deal. That is awesome. Congratulations, Connor. That is so awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And he is pushing it. I mean, he is putting books out. He's doing the boots to the ground research. He is absolutely doing it. Yeah, Texas Jack, right on the money, brother. Some people's mamas never taught them to say anything at all if they can't say anything nice. Absolutely. And that's where we live in. We live in a cruel time. There was, I don't know how many of you listen to BP Earthwatch. He's on YouTube. Um, he, Jesse, he is BP Earthwatch. He does a lot of stuff on the Bible, um, on asteroids coming in, the sun, solar erupting, the earthquakes. I mean, he's on the ball, a wealth of knowledge. And I am subscribed and I receive notifications for him. Sometimes I don't receive them all the time, like so many of you. There's so many of you here that I'm subscribed to your channel and I don't get notifications, and I have to keep going and checking. And there's always videos that I'm missing or live shows. But the BP Earthwatch, he done one yesterday. Let me see if I can pull it up. Very interesting, and it's about the Bible. And he uses the eSword, the app called eSword. You can put on your computer. Yeah, brother Don, absolutely. BP Earthwatch is a great channel. I'm in agreement with you all the way. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'll tell you the name of the video. All right, this is his channel. It's called The Real BP Earthwatch. You guys can see that? The Real BP Earthwatch. Great man, Christian fella. This video is called Operation Dark Sky. That he's getting into the parts of the Bible where it speaks, like he referencing the UFOs and how they're related to the Bible, and it is it's frightening, but I can absolutely see all of that coming. And if you read the Bible and really dig into the meaning of it and a lot of this stuff, and BP is he does research, and he puts markers out there and does a brief description on what through his research, what he found out, the meaning of it. And then I'll take it and I'll do my own research into it a little further. And he's on the money. I've never seen where he needed to be corrected. He's on the money with everything that I found. And I haven't researched all this stuff, but he's a wealth of knowledge. And he's referring to the what he believes the times that are coming when God pours his wrath out. After tribulation, and he pours his wrath out on mankind that's turned their backs on him. And he's talking about the way the Bible's written. If you look back into the meaning of the words, like where the Bible mentions the chariots of fire, if you look up the Greek definition of it, it's a craft. It's not a horse pulling a two-wheeled cart. It is a vehicle, a flying vehicle, a spaceship. And he's kind of linking things together that, a lot of people are saying that they're all negative, but what if the spacecraft, these UFO crafts, what if they're angelic? And the Luciferian doctrine, the elite that are doing the work of the enemy, what if their job is to cause us to fear these craft, that these craft are bad, these beings are bad? If they're from our Creator, the enemy's going to try to turn us against it, avoid them, run from them. And I know these beings that do these abductions are definitely not of God. I do not believe that they are at all. I don't like the idea of the abductions, because we were given free will to make the choice. And, and that applies to everything. If these beings come and want us to go, they should ask us, hey, would you come with us and let us run tests on you? But they don't. So we don't have the option to use free will in making a decision to come or go. Those are the bad ones. But I do believe a lot of the good ones are angelic, like the book of Enoch. Enoch, a craft came and he stepped into the craft and he left with them. And these were angels. These were good people, or good entities. I don't think they're people, but they're on the good side. There's the side that we want. Yeah. Seven Pearls said it right there. That is it. Signs, signs everywhere. Signs. Absolutely. Yep. Don says he hadn't heard that before. UFO craft having cherubs and other angelic forces in them. A different idea. Um, it goes into research, Brother Don. A lot of the I researched into it several years ago, and it was actually BP Earthwatch. His very first channel was, I think it was just BP Earthwatch, and then he had BP Earthwatch 2 because YouTube, I think it was shutting him down because if you put truth out there, YouTube's going to target you. And he's got BP Earthwatch has a web page also, and there is just so much information. You can click on the links he's got to see the satellite views, the satellites that are watching the sun. Just he's got so much stuff on there. It's a fascinating website with more information than you could ever put in 1,000 books. And that's on BP Earthwatch, his website. But originally, he got me pointed into researching that about the angels possibly coming in UFOs, like where the Bible speaks Jesus going to be coming through the clouds riding on a white horse. But if you go back, you know, in your Bible, you'll see the words like where it says Jesus riding on a white horse, and there's a little number up there next to horse. I know all of you have seen it. I can't remember which form of the Bible it's in, but there's little numbers next to words. The app, the eSword app, you could put that, go to that verse and look up I think it's the Greek definition of the white horse, and it is a flying vehicle. It's not a horse. It's not an equine. It's literally a craft. And when he's coming through the clouds with his armies on his white horse, he's in a craft of some type. And I'm sure it's something we've never seen before, which would make it a UFO. And the sky, from what I gather, what I can understand of it, when Christ returns, the the sky is going to be full of these crafts, these UFOs. Whether they're discs, I don't know what they are, but it'll be full of them. There will be so many of them that it's going to prevent the sunlight from reaching the earth. It's going to blacken the earth. And I don't know if that's going to be where the sun is without light for 3 days. I don't know if that's what it is or not, but it just seems that way to me. But everybody that'll research it, everybody comes up with something different. We don't know when the Son of Man's going to return, when the Lord's going to get here, but he's going to come. At the rate we're going this earth, it's not going to hold together a whole lot longer. And it's not the storms, it's not the earthquakes and all that, it's the people. There is a bad group that is doing horrible things. They're turning everybody against one another over skin color. And that's the most disturbing thing that you can imagine. And you have no choice on what color your skin is. And if it was something given to you once you reach adulthood, hey, what color do you want to be? And you hit a button and you're that color, then I could see someone holding that against you. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't. But you don't have that choice. God put your soul, your spirit in a particular body, and that body is unique to you and you only. So all this racist garbage, I hope you guys aren't involved in none of that. I know you're not, but it's horrible. I just seen what Aaron said on there. Yeah, there was so much going on. See what Aaron was talking about. Night or Israel wrestle with the angel. There's a lot in the Old Testament. There's a lot in the books that were removed from the Bible that has all these oddities in them. Strange beings that are, these. I don't know if they're referring to the Sasquatch, but they're referring to stuff that's not human. Uh, these flying craft, these vehicles. A lot of the ancient writings, if you could find a direct translation, and you could find them for almost all of it, but you just got to dig a little bit to where it's been translated from the Sanskrit or whatever text it was originally written in, where it's translated into Hebrew, and then it's translated from Hebrew into English, and it's hard to understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense. My rear end's sore, I'm sorry. But there's so much of it that speaks about these craft, these doorways, that one mountain where the Catholic Church put that giant telescope, and they named it Lucifer, I'm sorry. And they've changed the name to it now. I can't remember what the new name is. But that giant telescope the Catholic Church owns, that mountain was a sacred mountain to the natives in that area. They have I'm hearing a dog pant. And there's not a dog up here by me. They're out there. That is creepy. But I got messed up now. What I was saying? Oh, on that mountain where they had that big telescope, the top of that mountain there was a door that would open. What do they call the portal? A portal will open, and the angel would step out of it onto that mountain. And some of the holy people of that time would go with the angel, and they would step in that door, and it would close up, and they'd be gone. And it was so strange. A lot of the research I done years ago, and I think it was Enoch that got in a UFO, in a craft, and they took off, and he was returned, and he thought he was only gone for a day or so, a very short period. But when he got back, he was gone for over 20 years. Sorry about that. Another ambulance. God, this world's getting bad. But there's so much. Yeah, Don, Ezekiel's will. That's one of them. Some people believe that Ezekiel's will was they produced some type of food, like manna out of it. Then others believe that it was a craft. And now there's people of today that believe the drawing of Ezekiel's will is the plans for like a wormhole, a machine to make a wormhole of some sort. Our world is so crazy. Yep, I just yep, I'm gonna put that up what Aaron just put on there. And this is what Aaron's referring to here. The Father's going to roll back the firmament. He's going to open the dome. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, think it's crazy, but biblical cosmology is what it says it is. Where it talks about the dome, where there's waters below and above the firmament. I'll share something with you. A lot of you have probably already seen it, and this blew me away. A few years ago, there was a group of people, and I don't remember why they put this together. I believe it had something to do with the earth being round or flat. But what they had done, they got private investors, wealthy people, backed them up, and they made rockets. They built rockets, bought them, whatever they done. They went to the salt flats and they mounted GoPros all over this rocket, and they sent it up, and they were trying to get it up into space, not way out there, but just past the Earth's atmosphere and just into subspace, almost into outer space is what they were attempting to do. Well, this thing flew up. They got all the video. They got all the cameras on it. And the footage they shared, the rocket starts spinning, and then it's spinning so fast, it's just a blur. The cameras, you can't make out anything. It's just a blur from spinning. And then you hear what sounds like the rocket hits water. You hear a splash, and the rocket instantly, it almost stops completely. That spinning is spinning at, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 RPMs. And then you hear the splash, and it's just drifting, slightly rotating. And you can see bubbles going past the cameras. It landed in water, and it went straight up. And it came back. Eventually, it fell back, and they recovered the rocket. They recovered the cameras. Some of the cameras had water damage. Water had gotten into them. But you can hear it hit water. And it was the most, it blew me away to see that. And you could still pull that video up. I do not remember the name of it. They done a documentary on it. But it was so crazy. And if you get into a lot of the ancient writings and all, no, you're good, Aaron. No problem. No problem at all. Everything come out good. But I absolutely understand what you're referring to. And I do believe what Aaron's saying. If you look into the Bible, my understanding of it is that we are basically in a dome. There's people that believe in flat earth. There's people believe in a round earth, a ball. I'm torn. I know that we're not flat, but from my research, what my mind comprehends, and I'm not a smart person. I can't understand the scientific terms of these big fancy words. I can't. But from what my research since 2012, when I started looking into it, is the earth is shaped more or less like a bowl. It's sort of like, it comes up on the sides, and the sun and the moon would rotate. And I can see that in my mind. That works out better than a ball. It just doesn't make sense to me. The curvature of the earth. And I've heard so many people talk about 12 miles or 13 miles out into the ocean, you can't see a ship no more because it goes around the curvature of the earth. There's hundreds of people who got some very expensive telescopes with cameras on them, mounted them on the beach, and they showed a ship getting out to 12 miles, 13 miles. You can't see it. Then they zoom in on the telescope, and the ship's right there. It'll get out to 20, 30 miles, whatever the distance is, and it looks like it goes over the horizon. They zoom in a little more, and the ship's right there. And they got this ship, it's way out there, a couple hundred miles. And they zoom in on the telescope, and it's right there. It has not went around the curve. And the group that sent the rocket up, I believe it was near Hawaii. I may be wrong on that. I can't remember the exact location. But they have the mainland, and there's an island out. It was 20 something miles out at sea. They put a stake in the ground on the island on the coast, and a stake in the ground on the mainland on the coast. And they got a high power laser, and they mounted it so many inches up from the ground, and they got it level where it's projecting a perfectly level line. And that 20 something miles, whatever the actual distance was, it seems like it was 28 miles, but I don't know if that's right, but it was over 20 miles. On that island, the laser, when they got it to where it lined up with that stake, it hit the stake the exact same height above the water than where the laser unit itself was projecting it. Both of them were at the exact same level, 20 something miles away. And it just, there's so much. I think all that's part of when Christ returns, that veil that is the people who know, the elite that know what's going on, that know the truth on the Bible, they know the truth about the Sasquatch beings and all these other things. All of the lies that's been fed to us, all of that's going to be lifted, and there's nothing going to be spat out of their mouth but truth. When God intervenes, it's all going to be truth, and we'll find out. It may be around round Earth, it may be a flat Earth. I have no idea, but my guess from what I found is that it's like it's a more or less like a bowl, and the we have a dome over us, and I do believe the stars that are out there in the sky, I do believe that they are um, small gods. You know, not the most high God, but there are other gods. They're powerful angels. I do believe that they are beings. If you zoom in on a star I looked at them. I had the opportunity one time to look at them through a Canon. It was the name brand Canon. It wasn't a Canon gun, but it was this giant telescope, and it was bigger than a 5-gallon bucket round, and it was about 5 foot tall. And it's got a little display on it, but they got it plugged up to a computer when I was in Alabama, in Chapel Hill, Birmingham. And you could zoom in on the stars out there, and they look like a water balloon. It's like a really large water balloon that barely has water in it, and it's just really just moving around if you see an amoeba in a microscope, if you remember that in school in science, the way them amoebas, that they just kind of blob around and change shape as they're moving under the slide. That's the way the stars looked, but they have these crazy colors that they'll emit as they're making these changes. It's so strange, but it's nothing like what I was taught in school. We live in a strange world. Seven Pearls says she's tuckered out. I think everybody's worn out. Guys, I don't want to drag on and bring y'all into my weird world of thinking. I don't care how many people clown me. It's my beliefs, and all of us are entitled to believe any way that we like. Yes, Bama Bigfoot, like plasma. That's what it looked like. It was the strangest thing, but there was not like the sun. It wasn't a ball. It was moving. It was alive. Any star out there, you zoom in on there, even the ones that are close, the big ones, you zoom in on them and they're moving. It's so weird. We live in a strange world, but the truth is so close to us. Just hang in there. Keep your faith strong. Keep your faith focused on the Creator, on the Most High God. Whatever you call Him, stay focused on Him. We are coming into a time we are going to be tested to the hilt, and it's not our Father testing us; it's the enemy. And he's going to throw things in our path to trip us up, to try to cause us to fall and steer away from our Creator, the Most High God. Don't let that stuff bring you down. Stay strong in your faith. If you're having problems, if your faith is being tested and you're crumbling, you're giving into it, reach out. You have friends and family nearby, reach out to them. If not, reach out to one of us here. We've got a fantastic family here at Standing Goats. And anybody in the chat, just reach out to them. We'll all get together and send prayers your way, and You know, the power of prayer, it affects the physical. It's not just a mental thing. It affects the physical. If you could bring back someone who's right at the edge of death and no chance at all of survival, you can bring them back through a prayer. You can do anything. Jesus said through faith we can move mountains, and he was not um, he was being literal in that sense. You could absolutely move mountains if you got the faith to do it. The faith is where it's at, and we got a fantastic group of people here. I just want to thank you all for being here. Polly, good night to you. Thank you so much for being here, all of you guys. But I'm going to close out with a prayer for everyone, for me and for all who need it. We've got one another. We've got the Lord. Right now, it's going to seem as though you're not being answered in your prayers. It is the time that we're in. Keep your faith strong. It's temporary. There's a battle that's already began. It's happening. And I think our Father he's tied up with the getting all of that, the preparation together for us. And he doesn't have time to jump in to handle all of this, with the prayers and the needs, the things, our wants, just the things going on. We have to keep our faith strong. He will intervene. He will step in. He will answer. He's going to be there. He is here. But there's so much other things going on. We got an entire world full of billions of people, and we're all needing him. A lot of them have turned their backs on him, but we're coming into those days. Just stay strong, and we will absolutely be together at the end. All of us will. It's going to be a good time. If there's anything that you guys need from me, if there's anything that I can help you with, if you have if you're needing a prayer request and you want to put it out on a video, if you want to come on yourself, if there's something that you would like to share with us, if you want to educate us on something, the platform's open. We're here for one another. I'll do whatever I can for all of you here. You guys are what makes this what it is. And through the power we have in prayer from all of us, nothing is out of our reach. But I'm going to do a closing prayer, and then we'll shut this down. A lot of people here have to be at work in the morning. I got to be up early as well. So let's get this done, and then we'll say our goodnights. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank you this day. We thank you for giving us this opportunity to come together, Father, and to testify and to spread our word, spread your word, and just to spread love. Father, we ask that you intervene in all of our lives here. Everyone that's listening to this show tonight and further down the road, Father, let them be touched by your glory. Let them know who you are with a firsthand experience. Father, those that are sick, I beg you from my heart, Yahweh, Almighty God, please step in, remove whatever ails them. Father, if there's unclean spirits and it's attacking our family and friends here, Father, I ask that you step in and that you remove them. All of us here willingly submit to be vessels to carry your word, to carry your spirit, and most of all, carry the love that you have for us and to share it with one another. Father, please touch our lives, pave our path that we may go through life without stumbling. Father, when times get deep, we ask that you help us get through it. We're not asking that you carry us through it. We're asking that you get our back. And when we do stumble, give us that push that we need to get up and beyond and to beat all things that lay before us. Father, we honor you. We love you. We thank you for all the opportunities you've given us, and especially this life, this learning experience. Please help us to get it right. Father, point us in the direction that we're intended to go, and send your guardian angels to watch over us. And when times are rough and we need you most, Father, please make yourself evident that we know that you're there. We give you all the honor and all the glory as we give great thanks and great praise to you. In Christ Jesus, Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you all for being here. I've just seen that Gene, I am sorry. Did Chris put that on there? I am looking for, I'm sorry guys, I want to get this out. I'm just looking. I'm trying to go back. Oh, I must have missed it. I'm going to put this up. Still crazy Chris, her mom fell and she had to go. Oh, Lord. Chris, I am so sorry. I did not see that. I'm so sorry. Guys, yeah, please send prayers for Chris and her family. Send prayers for her mother. You know, she's with the Lord, but let her know that we do love her. You know, she's part of us. And pray for our sister Chris, still crazy Chris. There's so many of us right now. We're in those days. Guys, don't be scared. Be prepared. Be ready. The time's coming. He's going to come like a thief in the night. We don't know when he's going to come. It could be the middle of the afternoon. It could be right during the worst time of the day. Be prepared. Keep a smile on your face. Keep your eyes focused on the Father and follow your heart in all things that you do. And we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. I love you all. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And those of you that are new that have showed up, welcome to our family. If there's anything any of you need, if there's anything I can help with, if you need to get a word out, you need to get a prayer request out, anything at all, if you need to get in touch with me, my email is right there on the screen. I will throw it up right here. There we go. standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com. It may take me a couple days to get to you. I am very behind on my emails. But as soon as this room is done, I'll be on top of everything again. We'll be good to go. Thank you all. Polly, thank you so much. I'm so glad you got to come over here and hang out with us. It's been such a blessing. Everyone here. Sister Sharon, Sister Jean, thank you all. And Bama Bigfoot, absolutely. What a blessing. You all have blessed me greatly tonight, and I thank you for that. And I will definitely be seeing you guys soon. It should be 2 days. Tuesday night, I should be live Tuesday night. And we'll go over some more of these articles, and we'll just see where the Lord takes us. Y'all have a wonderful evening. God bless each and every one. And until next time, always be safe. Good night.